what having the system allowed us to do when we rolled out at the local level was, and this is, as I was prepping for questions, kind of a theme, is that we wanted our field managers, we were, a lot of similarities to what Keith said. There was a lot of movement at the manager level, a lot of people that were aggressively pursuing this move away from transaction. And so we needed our sales directors, managing directors, and field leaders to be brilliant at the trustworthy selling philosophy, not just the facilitation. So in addition to it being a plug-in way that we can have consistent, sustainable results, because Los Angeles launched in the same way as Atlanta, although in different places, we also gave those field leaders the opportunity to facilitate so much that the philosophies could be embedded in them. So that there was just a ton of good that came out of having our field managers all launch this consistently the same week every month. And it really helped act as a culture builder for us in kind of defining what our advice-based distribution team looks like today.
Mm-hmm. Sure. We made the decision to incorporate the Quick Start version into our new agent training school with no cost to the new agents. And then for our veteran agents, we offer the program to them once they've been nominated by their management as a candidate for the class. We don't want prisoners. They want to have to be there and be willing to pay for it. So we do a cost sharing of the program for our veteran agents so they have some skin in the game.
To give this context, for years, we had our own home-built training program. It was a classic over a 6-week period. You take the modules and you work with your staff manager locally, and there's the training. So we had this 6-week training program, and at the end of that, sometime during your first 8 weeks of existence, for years, we brought them to Cincinnati for a fast start school. And we were literally spending $1 million+ in bringing people in early in their career that, quite frankly, we had horrible retention results with. So when we started to revamp this whole thing, we said, let's quit thinking about training as a 6 or 8 week period, and let's think about training over a 2-year period. And what we decided to do is we decided to take that 6-week training and say, is this set up properly? Is it set up with the principles of adult learning? Is it micro learning? Is it set up in the way that people would want to take it? So we blew that out to about 6 months. And then the decision we made was that there would be a productivity requirement, and there would also be, did you do the built in-house training through completion? And for those people that had about a 20% bump in productivity over the requirement, they were invited to the trustworthy selling. Now, our model, Joey, is a little different. We said that when you come, the staff manager comes, because the patient in our world really was the staff manager, because we knew that we weren't going to move this thing unless we had these frontline leaders believing and buying in and practicing the principles of the consultative selling model. So our delivery model was this. After 6 months, you qualify. Just like I believe Carrie said, there's a cost-sharing piece to it because we want people that want to be there. The financial rep and their staff manager are enrolled, and they take it together. The first 3 modules were done virtually, 1 module per week, 3 weeks in a row. Then we brought them to Cincinnati for 3 days and did modules 4 through 7. That was in-house, and that was facilitated jointly by a training member from the home office, one of our regional leaders, like what I call the DVP position, and select agency managers, because I was wanting to get influence makers understanding the program and being able to walk the walk and talk the talk. So they would come in for these 3 days, and the cool thing about it was they got to, they had been speaking with each other virtually, and now they got to meet each other as a group. And part of that 3-day period, of course, was we would have a reception and have senior leadership, Troy or John Barrett or whoever, would rub elbows with these guys, and we would give them awards based on their participation in the 3 days that they were there for the 4 modules. Then we set up an 8-week coaching period where the staff manager was certified to be a coach, and for 8 weeks, we would say, okay, now let's apply what we've learned, modules 1 through 7. And during that 8-week period, we would have them do module 9 early on in it, And then we would have them apply what they've learned, and then we would prepare them for a capstone, and then the capstone was conducted by their regional leader, the divisional vice president. And that put a little bit of seriousness to it, because now I've got to demonstrate that I can do what, the principles and the competencies in this class, but I'm not doing it to my manager. I'm not doing it to my manager's manager. I'm doing it for my manager's manager's manager. And because of the seriousness of that, it created more of an ownership. And the last piece to this was we pulled out Module 8, which is basically deepening client relationships, and we held that until they were in the business for a year. Joey and team helped us to personalize this whole program to say, you've got enough clients now, it makes more sense to go after the deepening client relationships. And they coordinated with our marketing department to personalize it to our terminology and to our tools, so it made better sense for them. So that period from the Module 1 through the capstone is about a 3 to 4 month period, but they don't earn it until after they've been here for 6 months. What I would say for the people listening in is the people at HPN will work with you to personalize your delivery model. And how we did it was I literally grabbed a couple leaders from our training team here in the home office, and we went to Chicago, quite frankly, and spent a day with Joey and his staff and his team. And we brainstormed this, and we put this on the board. We whiteboarded this. Okay, we have a blank board. If we wanted to do this right, how would we do this? And the model that we came up with is part virtual, it's part face-to-face, it's facilitated by training people, by executives, by local managers, and the staff manager is also a participant and then takes the role of the coach. What I'm describing, guys, is this is all pre-COVID, because once state regulations and guidelines put in, we've had to make adjustments, like I'm sure every organization that's using this. But the way our original design was is exactly, they would come into Cincinnati and do that face-to-face, and then the capstone was face-to-face with the divisional vice president.